Nintendo official competitive support. So yeah, we are gonna go over, since it was announced very recently, a Nintendo European circuit for Ultimate. So a lot of people have been asking me about it, so we're gonna go over it shortly, going over the announcement, pros and cons, and so on. So a few days ago, Nintendo of Europe tweeted out, taking place across 7 events around Europe before culminating in a grand final, the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate European Circuit will determine Europe's best player. It all kicks off at Syndicate from 25th of October to 27th. Then we're going to check out the link, see what information is available here. Track down Ultimate tournaments around Europe and submit your own with our Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Tournament portal. So as we can see, we have Syndicate in the Netherlands, DreamHack Winter Sweden, Valhalla Denmark. Then we also have DreamHack in Germany, Leipzig, or however you pronounce that, Republic in Spain, Icarus in Italy, Stunfest France, and then DreamHack Summer Sweden. Let's go. 2 events in Sweden. But now, pretty good, multiple countries included on this list. So that's very good. I feel like UK is like the main country missing here. But they also might not have had any big events around this time. Oh, recently added tournaments. All right, so it might be some more tournaments as well. I don't know, but at least, yeah, those 7 tournaments are confirmed this at the very least. So how do you feel about it? To be entirely honest, we don't get a lot of information to go on. We basically have like, oh, these tournaments are included in the circuit, but besides that, we don't really see a lot of information. I know on Twitter, some stuff was talked about. At least one, if not multiple, of the TOs responded to certain questions regarding what is it called? Yeah, regarding clearing some things up. But I was thinking we could go over pros and cons with the circuits with our very limited information, obviously. Oops. All right. I might be stretching a little bit on some of these points, but as I said, since we don't have much to go on, I'm gonna do my best. So, possible support. Like, since we don't have a lot of information to go on, what we can hope for is that we actually do get some type of support here. My guess is, since we haven't heard anything about money's off the table. That doesn't mean, however, that they can't possibly provide support in terms of like, consoles, other costs for TO. I know that's a little bit of wishful thinking, but if we are going to try to look at it from the bright side, possible support is, as far as we can stretch it. Tournaments in the US, they actually do not get any support from what I've heard. It's basically just their logo on stream and that's it. But this is the first time in Europe this is happening. So maybe they have a different approach to this. It's very hard because no one knows like all the details, how much power the Nintendo of Europe and Nintendo of America actually have in terms of like putting in some actual support. Like, for the most part, it's just people guessing, But possible support is there. This also might sound like stretching it a little bit, but at least no negatives. When it comes to Nintendo sponsored tournaments in the US, for example, you can't use UCF, for example. I know people that only play Ultimate do not see maybe any concern in this, but for melee players, having UCF on is really really convenient, and it is superior to using the Dweens, and vanilla have its own issues. So for people playing melee, UCF is that's what you want. So Nintendo sponsored tournaments in the US honestly basically comes down to a negative. The only positive thing that we know of is that Nintendo support the tournament and they will not shut down the tournament. But it does come at the cost of UCF, for example. For the tournaments in Europe, at the very least, we've seen some sort of proof from TOs that Nintendo won't interrupt with that. They don't care about, the melee part. So they're not showing any support, but they also don't try to interrupt the way we run tournaments. So UCF is safe. So at the very least, it's not going to come anything negative out of this. Which might sound sad, but that's actually a good thing. Since Nintendo have been very distant from the community in the past. Yeah, for people who don't know UCF, it stands for Universal Controller Fix. Some parts in the programming of Melee was pretty poorly implemented, mainly dashing backwards. I'm not going to go over exactly how it works right now, but basically it makes controllers equal. Dashbacks have a design flaw, how they made them, and UCF makes sure that every controller is equal in that regard. Another one I would say is I could see this motivating European players quite a bit as well. A lot of players in Europe for Melee and Ultimate kind of have the mentality of we don't really have that many events. They might not be tryharding as much as, people from the US, for example. Or it's not even might. They don't tryhard nearly as much. The US is much more of a tryhard region in all the Smash games than Europe. But I think a circuit like this could help. Back in, I believe it was 2015, we had a European circuit for Melee and Smash 4, and you actually did see an increasement of people traveling to events. You did see more top players going to, events all over Europe. So I used to think having this, circuit thing is actually a very, very good thing. We can basically say that it's more structure, right? This circuit, it's far ahead of time. We know multiple events that is included. People get a lot of time to plan out which ones are they going to be able to go to and not. So the structure, it makes it much easier for people that might be, a little bit undecided. Should I go to this event or should I not? With this structure, it makes it much easier to convince people that might think of not attending. So the structure is going to help a lot as well. The only cons I could be thinking of, since UCF, for example, is confirmed to be safe, is that it could be no actual support. I don't think we're ever gonna get a true answer to this. The TOs more than likely signed some form of NDA. I think that's what it's called. Non-disclosure agreement. Yeah, I think it stands for. So they more than likely signed one of those and can talk about the pros and cons of the deal. So we're probably never gonna get an answer. But as far as we don't notice any negative things, it's either gonna be kinda whatever or something positive, but we might not, get the details about those positive things. Let's say they do help out with certain costs or consoles or whatever. We might never get to know that. You might notice that, this tournament have a lot of consoles, for example, but that's not proof that they got help. Or I don't know, that was just an example. the rule set is gonna be like, yeah, legit rule sets. So that's what I mean here. No negatives. I actually should add this. No shitty rules. So it's gonna be like standard rule sets. So they don't interrupt anything. They don't interrupt in any fashion regarding the rules. So no smash balls, no shitty stages, stuff like that. So looking at the whole picture, I would say worst case scenario, we don't notice any difference whatsoever. But the idea of having the circuit, at the very least, hopefully motivate players to travel more. And it's just more structure overall. That's a huge problem in European Smash across all games for Smash, is that we don't have as much structure as we need to. Countries do not work together enough. But having a circuit, now it's already good structure on it. So it at the very least, something good should come out of it, even if it's no direct support. But as I said, like, we can't actually know that, and we probably will never get to know. But yeah, that's my first impression. That's my first impression of this. I'm also happy that we have 2 events in Sweden. Jönköping is only like 2 hours away with bus from my place, so it's probably a decent chance that I will have some great players over leading up to the DreamHack events, which will be fun. Which will be fun for, you know, the stream and stuff. So yeah, that's looking pretty likely too. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, pros and cons about the circuit. What do you guys think Nintendo are doing or not doing? Please let me know.